I am a part of this house too. I am your family member, you know." My mother-in-law Phyllis snickered when I said that. "Huh? Who are you? Who do you think you are? My family only consists of 4 people. No matter what I do, my mother-in-law seems to treat me like a stranger." I ran out of patience and decided to go back to my parents' house. When my parents heard what I had to say, they were furious.
"I will have a nice chat with them."
But I calmly replied to my parents, "Don't worry, I've already got my revenge from them. My name is Brianna. I'm 34 years old and I work from home. I recently got married to a man named Todd. We met at a matchmaking party held by my friend. Working from home, I rarely met anyone, and my friend, who was worried about that, set up the matchmaking party for me. All my life, I have been devoted to my studies, and my love life was secondary. Even after I became an adult, I continued to focus on work and didn't prioritize my love life. So before I knew it, I was almost turning in my 30s without having any experience in love. Then, I met Todd at the matchmaking party I attended. He was very bright, and he stood out at the party. I was very nervous because it was my first time to attend a party like this, but he talked to me a lot, and I was able to fit in well thanks to him. Then we changed seats, and everyone started talking to their neighbors, and I ended up next to Todd. So we talked about a lot of things.
"Huh, Brianna, you work from home. That's so cool. It sounds like what people would do nowadays."
"Oh, you think so? Personally, I think it's pretty dull."
"That's not true. You should have more confidence in yourself."
I was glad he complimented me like that. And he even asked me out on a date. I had been attracted to him from the party, so I said yes to his date request, and we went out together on our day off. He was very interesting to talk to, and he kept leading me and pulling me along to do some things on the date. I was quite reserved when it came to romance, so I think a type like him was a good match for me. We even got married a year after we started dating. I was surprised that I got married much quicker than I had imagined. But I was very happy that he proposed to me and I wanted to marry him. Besides, I felt like I was at the right age to marry him, and I think he had that same idea in mind. Well, that's what I at least thought so at the time. Then we greeted each other's parents. There I met my in-laws for the first time. "Hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm Brianna." "Hi, nice to meet you. We are Todd's parents. Thank you for marrying such a boy like him."
"Hey, Mom, what do you mean?"
"Oh, you're right. I used the wrong word. Thank you for marrying such a guy like him."
"What? That didn't change anything."
I was so amused by the exchange between him and his mother that I let out a laugh. At first, I was nervous about the wedding greeting, but thanks to his mother, I felt relaxed. From then on, the wedding greeting proceeded in a pleasant atmosphere from start to finish. "Brianna, I'm looking forward to being your family for a long time." "Yes, me too. Thank you very much." After that, the meeting between the two families was successfully completed, and Todd and I had a nice ceremony. All my friends attended the ceremony and congratulated me greatly for my marriage. I was very satisfied that the wedding ceremony was done exactly as I wanted it to be. After the wedding, my husband and I went on our honeymoon. It was my first time to go abroad, and I was very impressed by how wonderful it was. It was to Maldives, and it was a valuable experience for me as I had never left the US before. I would like to travel abroad regularly in the future, is what I thought to myself. Then my husband and I returned back to the US. Our joyful newlywed life was about to begin. I excitedly got off at the airport. Then my husband said this to me.
"Actually, I have already prepared a room for us to live together."
"Oh, really?"
"Yeah, I've already moved my stuff, so all I have to do is move Brianna's stuff." why don't we pack up and move in together now?
Yeah, I will. I was surprised, not knowing that my husband had done that as a surprise. But I was very happy that he was thinking like that to make our newlywed life better together. Then my husband helped me pack my belongings. As expected, it was difficult to finish packing in one day, so we divided it into 2 or 3 days and packed little by little. We decided that if we were going to spend a few days, we should call a moving company, so I had my necessary belongings loaded onto a truck, and my husband and I drove to the new house. I was excited to get in the car with my husband, but I felt a certain discomfort on the way. The roads around here do look familiar. I remember there's a supermarket here, and I think I have been here once. My husband entered a residential area, and it was at this point that I finally realized where we were headed. Hey, could this new house be... When I asked him that, he turned the wheel and said,
My parents' house, of course.
What? I said so, feeling really surprised. Wait a minute. You mean we're going to live with my mother-in-law and father-in-law?
Yes, that's right.
What? I didn't hear anything about this.
Well, that's because it's a surprise.
What the heck? I'm not at all happy about that surprise. As I was turning pale, my husband saw my facial expression and became grumpy.
What? You don't want to live with my parents?
No, that's not it, but I just wanted you to discuss such an important matter naturally to me, instead of keeping quiet about it.
But if I do that, then it wouldn't be a good surprise.
And that's why I said there's no need to make it a surprise. I was a little irritated that my husband, who couldn't understand my feelings and my tone, became a little colder. My husband became even grumpy and said angrily,
What's with that attitude? You're the one who married me and married into my family. What your husband says is absolute. Don't be selfish and just do what I say.
I was so surprised at the change in my husband's attitude that I froze. My husband had been very kind to me when we were dating and had been a gentleman to me. But he was a different person in front of me right now.
We got here, so get off.
I had no choice but to get out of the car. Then my mother-in-law Phyllis came out from their house. Todd, Brianna, welcome home. Saying so, Phyllis greeted us with a huge smile. I was surprised by my husband's sudden declaration that we were going to live together, but the fact that Phyllis greeted us so kindly made my anxiety disappear a little. My parents-in-law are nice people, so living together might not be hard. Well, if possible, I wanted to live only with just the two of us at first. I've already asked the movers to move my stuff, so there's no backing out now. I was not convinced, but I had no choice but to move in with my in-laws. But this decision was a huge mistake I had made. I should have left my parents-in-law at that time, even if I had to throw everything away. I went to my in-laws' house with a lot of anxiety. On the first day, my in-laws treated me kindly, and I felt a little calmer. However, I felt a little distrustful towards my husband. I wondered if that overbearing attitude of Todd was his true nature. At dinner that night, my husband was in a good mood after having his favorite food delivered to his house, so I did not know if it was his true nature or not. But the next day, I would soon regret coming to this house. When I woke up in the morning and went to the living room, Phyllis had a scary look on her face. Good morning. I thought she might be angry, so I greeted her quietly. But Phyllis did not respond back and ordered me to make breakfast as soon as possible. When I was being stunned, Phyllis looked annoyed and yelled at me. Why are you just standing there? Get moving. Prepare breakfast. I had no choice but to stand in the kitchen after being yelled at like that. But I didn't know where the cooking utensils and seasonings were, and I didn't want to be asked to cook a meal for the family all of a sudden. As I fumbled around, Phyllis let out a deep sigh. Oh no, you can't do any housework at all, can you? You are useless as a wife. I don't know why she'd say that to me. Then Phyllis glared at me. What's with that face?
Huh?
You're making a face like you're trying to go against me. Oh, no. You're a cocky wife, you know. You've married into this family, and you have to do as we tell you to do. I was completely speechless. Phyllis was making the same comments as what Todd had said yesterday. Perhaps the true nature of the people in this house is the same for everyone, and they intend to treat the wife as slaves. As I was preparing breakfast with this thought in mind, my husband and father-in-law, Dan, woke up. My father-in-law said one word: coffee. As I was concentrating on preparing breakfast, I heard Dan's angry voice.
Hey, you! I said coffee. Can you not hear well?
Dan apparently said that one word, coffee, to tell me to prepare coffee. I was surprised, but quickly prepared the coffee.
My goodness, what a useless wife you are. I guess you haven't done any housework in your life, have you?
Dan sipped his coffee while saying such a thing. I realized that not a single person in this house was on my side. And for the rest of the day, my in-laws were always trying to bully me. You're the housewife, so it's natural that you have to do all the housework.
It's only natural, since Todd is the one who feeds for you.
My in-laws would say things like that. I explained many times that I work from home, but they would not listen to me. My husband's goal seemed to be to take me to my in-laws and use me as their housekeeper, and they didn't even feel guilty at what they were doing to me.
You better listen to my mother and father. If I hadn't married you, no one would have taken you in as a wife.
My husband would often verbally abuse me like that, and every single time I heard him say those things, I got depressed. When I didn't rebel and did as they said, my in-laws got more and more out of line and stopped treating me like a person. First of all, they stopped calling me by name and only said, "Hey, you." Then they started to use words to denigrate my personality on a daily basis. My in-laws kept saying, "You parasite." And before I knew it, my husband started calling me a parasite too. I wanted to leave this house, but I knew that if I just ran away, I would end up not being able to have a chance to get back at them. My in-laws would probably go around telling my neighbors and relatives that I was a terrible wife and made me look bad. I cannot allow that to happen. I was actually looking for an opportunity to revenge on my in-laws. That's why I've been going through these hardships. In the midst of all this, something happened that was indeed unbearable for me. It happened one day. My husband unusually asked me to make a reservation at a fancy restaurant. Normally, I would think this was just an order, but it was almost my husband and I's wedding anniversary. I was surprised because I didn't think my husband would remember our anniversary. I was just a little bit happy and tried to call and make a reservation. But when I tried to make a reservation for 2, Phyllis suddenly snatched the phone away from me. "Please make a reservation for 4 people." She then hung up the phone. "What are you doing?" I said as I asked her to give me the phone back. Phyllis replies, "You made a reservation for 2 people. Are you an idiot?" But my husband and I were celebrating our wedding anniversary that day. When I said that much, Phyllis interrupted me and said, "What? What are you talking about? Who cares about that? My daughter who studied abroad is coming home that day, so we're all going out for dinner as a family." Excuse me? Apparently, my mother-in-law was planning to go to a restaurant not with me, my husband, and my father-in-law, but with them and my sister-in-law. I was completely appalled. I am a part of this house too. I am your family member, you know. My mother-in-law, Phyllis, snickered when I said that. Huh? Who are you? Who do you think you are? My family only consists of 4 people. You're just a slave. A housekeeper. Don't ever get the wrong idea. No matter what I do, my mother-in-law seems to treat me like a stranger. Since I ran out of patience, I decided to go back to my parents' house. I then packed my bags and went to my parents' house while my in-laws went to the fancy restaurant. My parents were surprised to see me arrive with my large luggage. I explained to my parents about my life at my in-laws until now. My parents were furious when they heard what I had to say.
I'll have a chat with them.
But I calmly replied to my parents, "Don't worry, I've already taken my revenge."
What?
My parents both looked confused. I told my mother, "It's been a while since I've had your meals, Mom, and I want to relax," and went inside the house. And my mother put all her skill into cooking many delicious home-cooked meals. While I was enjoying my mother's cooking, my phone rang repeatedly. Most of the calls and messages were from my husband and mother-in-law, so I decided to turn off my phone. That day, I took a relaxing bath at my parents' house and went to sleep in a relaxed state. Then the next day, when I turned on my phone, I still received many calls from my mother-in-law and husband. I had no choice but to answer the phone. Then I heard my mother-in-law's panicking voice. "You, what are you doing? You can't just leave the divorce papers and take all your stuff with you." That's exactly what I mean. I can no longer live with you people. I can't stand your bullying anymore. As I said this, I heard my husband's voice. Apparently, the phone was on speaker.
You've got to be kidding me. I won't allow you to divorce me. I mean, come home right now and do the housework, you parasite.
Todd spits out his words. I really don't know how I can deal with these people anymore. Because you keep on behaving like that, that's why I don't want to live with you all anymore.
What? Hey, you better be joking. A wife is supposed to do whatever her husband and his family says. If you don't understand that, you're not qualified to be a wife.
I struggled to hold back my laughter at my husband, who was getting himself into more and more trouble. Why don't you just leave it at that already?
Huh? What do you mean?
Did you really think that I haven't done anything for about the last 6 months or so? I kept a notebook of all the times you people have abused and bullied me, and I recorded every horrible word you said to me. I even recorded what you said on the phone just now.
What the? How dare you?
My in-laws started to get upset, so I decided to tell them all about my plan. I have all the evidence of the treatment I received from you guys, and after showing it to them, I'm consulting with my lawyer. According to my lawyer, I can get a divorce due to it being your fault, Todd, and I can also get compensation for the damages you caused.
Compensation?
And my revenge won't end just like that. I'm sending copies of the bullying records to your workplace, your father-in-law's workplace, your relatives, and your neighbors. And a certified letter to your workplace. When I said this, my in-laws fell silent.
Oh no.
I heard my husband's voice, which sounded like a squeezed, fading voice. And I finally said, "Oh, and you keep calling me a parasite and talking about other people, but I do work from home and I make a lot more money than your son. I know you people don't understand that because you think I'm just a housewife just because I'm home. If you think I'm lying, why don't you ask your idiot son? Either way, I'm definitely getting a divorce anyway, and I'm getting compensation. Well, that's all from me, so don't call me anymore. If you call again, I'll call the police." I said that to them over the phone. My in-laws became quiet at once, so I hung up the phone and blocked their numbers from my phone. After that, as expected, my in-laws got a lot of criticisms from people around them. Both Dan and my husband are getting cold shoulder from people at work. Furthermore, the relatives cursed at them, saying, "You are a disgrace to your relatives, and don't even come to your relatives' gatherings." As for Phyllis, she became mentally ill and became a shut-in because her neighbors stopped hanging out with her. On the other hand, I successfully got a divorce from my husband and also got compensation. I am now working from home at my parents' house and enjoying my days, occasionally traveling abroad with my parents. I will continue to take my parents to various countries to take care of them as their daughter while working hard at my job. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. What the? Why? I came back from a business trip and tried to get into my house, but for some reason, the key didn't fit. What was going on? I immediately called my husband Keith, but I couldn't reach him and kept getting disconnected. I rushed to my parents-in-law's house, and to my surprise, there he was. Why can't I go into our house? When I questioned him, he made a surprising statement.
We already got divorced and we all moved out of the house.
Then my mother-in-law Laura, who had been listening to what my husband had to say, started trembling next to him and says to him, "Don't you know what you did?" My name is Haley. I am a 30-year-old company employee. My husband Keith and I have been married for 2 years. We met at a matchmaking party, which was held by a mutual friend. I was immediately attracted to him because he worked for a major company, looked really clean, and interesting to talk to. And since we were the same age, we had a lot in common. We were seated next to each other at the party, and we talked together for a long time, so I guess he liked me too. He asked me for my contact information, and we started meeting up. We then went on a series of dates, and we decided to go out. We continued to date steadily, and after a year, he proposed to me.
Haley, I want you to spend the rest of your life with me. Please, marry me.
Yes, I will. Please take good care of me. He proposed to me at a restaurant with a beautiful night view, and I received the ring, which made me very happy. I was so happy to think that I was going to start my married life with the man I love. After that, we met with both our families and got married. We had a successful wedding ceremony, enjoyed our honeymoon, and began our newlywed life. After we started living together, I was basically in charge of cooking. Keith used to live at his parents' house, so he was not a very good cook. Unfortunately, I had been living on my own since college and had always cooked for myself, and I liked cooking, so it wasn't difficult for me at all. Even before we got married, when we were still dating, I once served him a home-cooked meal, and he always ate it so happily and deliciously that I always wanted to see him happy. So I always tried my best to cook delicious meals. I naturally started reading cookbooks and looking up recipes on YouTube, and I think my cooking skills have improved a lot. Because I worked so hard at cooking, my husband did his share of other house chores. My husband took care of the cleaning, laundry, and dishwashing, and I am very grateful for that. He's the type that doesn't do any housework, so at first it was hard for him to get used to it, and it took a lot of time. But gradually he's able to do it smoothly. He is now good at cleaning than I am, and he even buys all the cleaning items he can find at the dollar store. We both work, so our income is stable, and I thought I was very lucky to be married to him. But just recently, something happened that started to destroy that idea. What? Starting a business?
Yeah, I'm quitting my job and starting up my own company.
What? You're already working for a major company, so quitting like that, isn't that a bit risky?
What are you talking about? You'll succeed because you're willing to take the risk.
No, but you don't really know yet if you'll succeed though, right?
What did you say? So you're saying that you're not supporting me with my dream? Starting up my own business has always been my dream.
Oh, really? This was my first time hearing about that from him.
I want to make my own way. I'm turning 30 and moving on to a new stage. I want you to be my wife and support me.
And that was how Keith requested me to support him as his wife. I felt like he was being a bit self-centered, but I felt that if it was his dream, I would support him. Besides, I'm working, and we can make a living for now. I understand. Then go for it.
Thank you, Haley. I'll definitely succeed.
And so my husband quit his job and started his own business.
Haley, I got a contract from one of our clients.
Wow, already? That's amazing.
I am a genius after all. If I keep this up, I'll easily surpass my income from my time as when I used to work for that company previously.
Great. Good luck, honey. Seeing him say that, I could see that my husband was so full of life, and I was happy for him too. In fact, I was surprised too because I didn't expect to see results so quickly. Perhaps my husband has a talent for business management. However, the reality was not that easy. Although his company did well and was making profit at first, sales soon began to stagnate.
Damn, why isn't it growing at all? I don't understand.
My husband was getting frustrated at home, and he started taking that stress out on me too.
Hey, the meals are always the same kind of menu. I mean, I hate dishes with fish.
Well, I'm sorry, but salmon was cheaper today, so...
I can't get my strength up with this kind of food. You should feed me more meat dishes.
But meat is expensive, so I can't serve it that often.
Huh? Are you making fun of how low my income is?
No, that's not what I mean. But I think we have to save money as much as I can.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're making fun of me. If you're saying that you're not making fun of me, then serve me steak. And not that cheap meat from the supermarket, the good stuff they sell at the butcher's.
No way. Frankly speaking, I can't afford such luxury when my husband's income is almost zero. However, since then, my husband has been carefully examining what I buy at the supermarket.
Hey, you. You're buying only cheap food, aren't you? I mean, what happened to the expensive meat? Why didn't you buy it?
No, I thought I'd make curry today.
That's how you're trying to cheat by making curry or something so that it'll last for 2 or 3 days, right? If you're gonna annoy me like that, then I have an idea.
Annoy you? But I'm not trying to do anything like that.
Forget it. I'll eat my dinner, so you just keep eating your curry.
Excuse me? My husband said so and started calling someplace else.
Special tacos for 1, please.
Hey! Why are you ordering that on your own?
Shut up. I said that I'll be eating on my own.
Yeah, but still, that's terrible to take taco delivery for just one person.
It's your fault for making me angry like this.
My husband says so, and afterwards he was devouring the tacos that arrived deliciously, drinking beer, and looking satisfied. I ate the curry on my own that I had made, feeling all frustrated. And after that, my husband began to order expensive deliveries for his own. If he kept doing that, he would soon run out of money for sure. Since my husband was ordering delivery from his own earnings, finance must have been getting very tight for him. Since he did not ask me for money, I assumed that was the case. But my husband had been ordering deliveries every single day for a while and did not seem to be having much trouble with money. I wondered if the company's sales were going up. But he didn't seem to act that way. At that moment, I had realized something. I wondered if this was even possible, so I checked our joint account. What the? I looked at the bank book and was absolutely horrified. To my surprise, the money in our joint account was being withdrawn every month. In other words, my husband has been paying for the deliveries not from his own earnings, but from this account. I immediately questioned my husband. What is the meaning of this, Keith? Why are you withdrawing so much money from this account?
That's our money, isn't it? So it doesn't matter. There's still a lot of money there.
If we keep spending money like this, it'll be gone in no time.
Oh, shut up, you're so loud. Then why don't you make something better? It's your fault in the first place.
No way. I'm just trying to protect our lives.
I told you to feed me good meals then. Why can't you understand that? You really are an idiot.
Excuse me? Why should I be verbally abused like that? Originally, it was your fault that your company wasn't doing well at all, wasn't it? When I said that, my husband's eyes widened and he became angry.
What? See, I knew you were making fun of me.
How many times have I told you it's not like that? You keep attacking me, so I'm trying to argue back here.
You're so annoying. Shut up. Don't you dare go against me.
My relationship with my husband was already in a terrible state. After that, he started coming home late at night. I guess he didn't want to see me. To be honest, I also wanted to keep my distance from him now. If things continue as they are, my relationship with my husband is going to get worse and worse. So I think it is necessary for us to be calm with each other. Then one day, I was called by my mother-in-law, Laura. I was a little nervous. Maybe she would blame me for being in an argument with my husband. But that was not the case. Laura was very worried about me. I'm sorry for calling you over so suddenly. No, it's not a problem. How are you lately? I'm sorry Keith's giving you trouble. Huh? Keith came back to our house the other day. At that time, he was talking about you and the argument you both had. You know. The more I listened to him, the more I thought it was his fault. So I thought he must be causing you a lot of trouble. His father passed away a few years ago, and it's not easy for me to stop him all on my own, but I'm still on your side, so you can talk to me about anything. Thank you, Laura. I was very happy to hear Laura say that. Knowing that I had someone on my side made me feel so much better. So I told my mother-in-law everything. Keith really is a stupid son. I can't believe he says such terrible things to you, Haley. I'll make sure to lecture him, so leave it to me. Also, about the joint account, you should withdraw the money you put into it, Haley. If you don't, I'm sure that Keith will spend it without your permission. That's true. I did as Laura told me, and transferred the money I had put in from the joint account to my own account at once. And I also stopped putting my earnings into our joint account. Now all that is left is the money my husband put in when he was an employee and after he became independent. I feel a little better mentally just because my money is no longer being used without my permission. My husband was still coming home late to avoid me. But as expected, my husband noticed about the money in the joint account. One day when I came home from work, my husband was waiting for me with an enraged look on his face.
Hey, I need to talk to you.
So I went to the living room and sat down across from him. What do you want to talk about?
Don't play dumb. It's about the money in our joint account. Why did you withdraw that much money at once?
Oh, that. Well, that's obvious, isn't it? You're spending our money without permission. It's only natural that I'd want to stop you from doing that. The rest of the money is yours, so why don't you spend it freely? Am I saying something wrong?
Ugh. What the hell? My mom tells me to be nicer to you, and you all make fun of me.
So I'm telling you, no one is making fun of you. It's because you do crazy things, isn't it?
You're so annoying. Don't you dare talk to me like that. Oh, that's enough. I'm sick and tired of you.
Hey, where are you going?
That's none of your business.
With that, my husband left. He was the one who said he wanted to talk to me, but how selfish could he be? I was just so speechless. Moreover, I have to go on a business trip for about a week, starting tomorrow. So I won't be able to see my husband for a while. Well, I will talk to Laura again when I get back, I guess. I changed my mind like that and went on a business trip the next day. My work was quite busy and I had some issues at work, so my husband was completely out of my mind. Then after spending the next few days being all busy, I was back home after a week-long business trip. But then, something unexpected happened. What the? When I returned home from my business trip, I tried to get into my house, but for some reason, the key didn't fit. What was going on? I immediately called my husband, but I couldn't reach him. Why can't I get through to him? Has my husband changed the locks? What could I do if I couldn't get into the house? I had no choice but to rely on Laura, so I decided to go to Laura's house for the time being. I rushed to her house, and to my surprise, I found my husband there.
Hey, I knew you would come.
What the heck are you doing? Why can't I go into our house? Did you change the locks? When I questioned him, my husband made a surprising statement.
We already got divorced and we all moved out of the house.
Huh? What the hell do you mean?
So, as I said, I filed for divorce and we all moved out of the house. Do you understand what's coming out of my mouth?
What are you talking about? You filed the divorce papers?
That's right. That's why you and I are no longer married or anything.
Wait a minute. I don't remember signing anything like that.
That's because I asked someone else to sign it for you.
Excuse me?
Besides, I already have a new girlfriend, and I'm going to live happily with her.
Keith is unbelievable. I didn't know that he could be such a scumbag like this. I was absolutely mortified by my husband's words and actions. Then Laura, who was listening to what Keith was saying, started to tremble next to him and began to say this to him. Don't you know what you did? If you forged the divorce paper, you'll be guilty of forgery of a private document.
Huh?
And if you already submit the forged divorce paper, you will be guilty of forgery of a notarized document. In other words, you committed a crime, Keith.
Oh, no.
My husband's face turned pale after hearing Laura. I said to my husband in disgust, What, you didn't even know about that? Then my husband angrily would say,
See, you are making fun of me again.
To that, Laura threatened my husband. That's enough. You need to reflect back at yourself a little bit.
I got a job at a major company and even started my own business. I'm amazing. I should be praised more.
My husband said this as if he were a crying baby. Then Laura told him a surprising truth. Did you forget that my brother worked for that major company and you were able to work there because of his network? You just quit your job because you couldn't do a good job at the company and decided to start your own business. Only people who can't do their jobs misjudge themselves. You only care about your own reputation and you blame everything on the people around you instead of fixing what's wrong with you. That's the reason why you can't succeed. And on top of that, you do things like this that are irresponsible. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Eek.
Keith kept on flinching when his own mother yelled at him. I had no idea that my husband was able to get a job at a big company because of Laura's brother. No wonder he was so stupid. I was so shocked when I heard about the divorce papers and the fact that he had announced his affair to the both of us. I said to my husband, who was lying on the floor, Since the divorce didn't even happen, that means you were having an affair. Of course, we'll get a divorce, but I'll also charge you alimony for your affair.
No way. Wait a minute. My company is in financial trouble and I'm already in debt. If I have to pay alimony on top of that, I'll go bankrupt.
I don't care, do I? Anyway, I'll claim everything I'm entitled to. Also, you said we moved out of the house without my permission, but where's all my stuff?
It's all in the rental storage.
Okay then, you were at least smart enough not to throw it out or sell my stuff. If you had gotten rid of it, you'd be more in debt. My husband gulped loudly and looked really terrified as I said this to him. I then officially divorced my husband and filed for alimony against him and his lover. My husband not only owed alimony, but also a fine for falsifying the divorce papers and submitting them, and he was in complete debt. Keith turned to his mother for help, but of course, she would not help him. Laura told him that she was to cut off ties with him, and it seems that now, my ex-husband has no one to turn to. It was impossible for such a guy like him to be liked by other people since he was in debt, and he was eventually abandoned by even his lover. Keith is now living all alone by himself, paying off his debts. Meanwhile, I rented a room near my office so that I could devote myself to my work. As a result, I was recently promoted, and I will continue to put more and more effort into my work. I actually keep in touch with Laura on a regular basis, and we sometimes go out to dinner together. My husband was a lousy man, but I will thank him for letting me meet my sweet mother-in-law. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.